But did I hit play?
We're sorry, the number
Wait, did I? Yes, I did. Sorry.
Okay, so obviously this episode is not going to be like the others. I say that a lot, but there's actually a reason. It never really hit me until the other day when I was thinking about this, and that I spent years working in television and I was forced to kind of fit things into widgets, so to speak, set formulas. And so this series gives me a chance to kind of make TV shows of sorts that don't necessarily fit into boxes. I don't want any of the episodes really to be the same. But that being said, the focus of this particular episode is a woman named Catie Glossmann, who definitely does not fit into any boxes, and yet I think her case, above all, really points to a lot of the mystery that surrounds brain cancer. It's actually so much of a mystery that I had a friend help me out. That is Molly Marco. Some of you may recognize her from other episodes of this particular series. She's been featured to varying degrees in the past. She's very active on social media. Definitely recommend following her. She's been a great personal support to me. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it.
This is Rudy. He has brain cancer. This series is about much more than that, though. It's about people with all kinds of cancers and serious chronic illnesses who might help him process his own diagnosis. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's serious, but hopefully it's always interesting.
I was really busy all the time. I was dancing pretty much every single day. I was in high school. I was in 10th grade. I was super involved. I was pretty much an all-A student. I had done many things like the Nutcracker. I was very dedicated. I mean, if I pursued it enough, I really wanted to pursue like a scholarship or something like that for dance because I absolutely loved it. And then probably for about a little over 6 months, I just wasn't feeling great. My mom is a nurse, which is amazing. So she pretty much navigates everything. And she is like the go-to person for any sort of medical issues. So she would take me to different doctors. Mostly they would say, oh, it's allergies. Like, oh, she's just really involved. She needs to take more naps. Maybe it's like an inner ear issue.
It was the week of my birthday. So I was turning 16. I was in 10th grade.
What was the result of that MRI? What did they figure out?
I had a brain tumor on my brainstem.
Oh, so we have to probably tell them what you have. So, medulloblastoma.
It was like about the size of an egg.
Mostly kids like 0 to 5 get it.
What was that like? I mean, most people at 15 aren't really thinking about oh, I need to pick a good doctor to operate on my brain. So anyway, so what happened next?
So then I had surgery, probably about a week later. And then after that, I couldn't walk.
Here you are, somebody who is a fairly talented dancer. Don't want to exaggerate anything, but you showed a lot of promise, and then going from that to basically learning how to walk again.
You know, I really didn't focus on that much, which was good. I don't know why, but I did not. It was more just walking in general. I was focused on that. And then, it was hard. I've done a few dance classes since, and it's not good. I can barely walk. I can walk obviously, but if you see me walking, you're like, okay, what's going on with that girl?
I know the feeling because my tumor is on my brainstem as well.
Do you have walking issues now?
I do, yeah. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot of concentration and focus. I consistently sort of veer off to one side. If I look one way, I start to walk that way. If I turn a corner, just even going slowly, I feel off balance, like I'm about to fall over. I'm always thinking that anyone who sees me probably thinks I'm drunk.
Absolutely. They're probably something, is somebody okay? Is somebody with her? She needs attention right now. The protocol for medulloblastoma, because it's so rare, they recommend doing radiation and chemotherapy.
I was inpatient, which means I had to spend the night because like the chemo would be about 45 minutes, but then they'd have to flush your kidneys for like either 24 hours or 48 hours. My mom lived with me in the hospital, even though I was like old.
So moms
like
do that.
I
You are
know.
not old. For parents, you're as long as you are still their baby, you're
Right.
they're still gonna treat you like that. It makes me a little emotional thinking about that. You look a little emotional right now too.
I know.
Oh, you're a baby. Did we make you cry?
I can't even begin to tell you of all the stupid crap and like diseases that I got and like things that my mom wouldn't have been there, like I would have died. Like one time they forgot to cap off my port when the chemo was in. So she woke up and like the whole thing was full of blood. Like I was like bleeding out into the bag. And the rooms wouldn't be clean. Like my mom would come in, like before I could even go in the room, she would like literally Lysol and clean the whole room herself. She would change the bed.
So I was on vincristine and Cytoxan, and then cisplatin. Cisplatinum. It's 2002.
2002. So and it's interesting too because as much as we'd love to say like things have changed so much medically for brain cancers, they actually have not.
I also had that gamma knife sort of radiation surgery.
Ooh, gamma knife. It sounds so cool, but it's not the more I look at that.
So that like ruined my hair. But I mean, when you're 16, that's a big issue. For instance, I have a hair transplant and my hair was dark. I'm Italian, it was dark, curly, and thick. I was like inconsolable.
That's what I want to ask you too, because as a teenager, I spent more time on my appearance in my teenagerhood than I had at any point in my 20s, 30s. My teenage years were like an hour spent combing hair.
Oh yeah,
brushing.
and like, oh my god, of course, like stupidly vanity now. You just think about it, you're like, what was I thinking? One thing I wanted to ask you, is your like hair normal from radiation?
It's better now than it was before.
Really?
But it wasn't right away. I lost hair like on top, all over here, completely bald over the ear, like this, like it was just, and then there was like a stripe of hair perfectly growing up right here.
Weird.
And when it grew back super curly.
My hair totally changed. Like the back of my head has no hair.
And that's why you have like the cut and the styling.
Yeah, and like it's super thin on top. So I was just like a complete nightmare.
Quick question. I think about sort of with adults, they talk a lot about cancer ghosting and things like that and issues. I mean, how did your friend,
Cancer what?
ghosting, like when your friends kind of disappear on you?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how was that as a teenager, you know, where I think it's probably an even sort of heavier thing where, you know, your social circle is like everything.
I was involved in a lot of things, like between church and school. And I went to a private school that was like smaller. So I had a ton of friends. I knew everyone. And really, it's like I went down to probably like one friend. I mean, I understand it was awkward, but like really? Like if I have friends, I don't know, I would think, I don't know, maybe I should just be at least nice to them. People are weird. Well, I mean, honestly, since I stopped like treatment, it seems like every few months something else would happen, like side effect wise. So like, it's almost like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling okay. What's gonna happen next? Because the tumor was pushing on my optic nerve. So that kind of got damaged when they were taking the tumor out. So I have really bad double vision. I have a delay between what my eyes see and what my brain interprets.
So I developed a really bad TMJ.
I get really tired a lot quicker than a normal person.
My head's kind of tilted to one side because I can see better that way.
Half my tongue is still numb.
Especially if you can't have kids or something.
I can't.
I have cataracts and like I have really bad hearing issues from the chemo. I tried hearing aids, every kind you could try, and it doesn't work. The way they described it to me is my ear is fine. It's my brain that can't hear. My left hand now shakes so bad. Like if you put any pressure on it, I try to hold something. Looks like I very escalated Parkinson's from it. And my teeth are veneers. It's like after my surgery, everything healed so tight and I walk funny that it pulled all of my teeth out of place.
Like, I've always had left side weakness.
I don't know if you have any weakness, but it makes it more difficult to walk.
Yeah, I have some left side weakness.
Okay.
Mostly in my left arm, but also a little bit in my left leg. So I kind of sometimes will drag my left leg.
Yeah, I have that.
Is it related, do you think, to the chemo, radiation?
Oh,
and
totally.
meds and stuff? Okay, that's what's, people always think it's like a one and done. You're like, no, it's
and
more
things
like a long
keep popping up
over time.
Pretty much from the top down, I have something like I could go through everything.
I think a lot of people, like, they hear like brain tumor stories and they're like, get kind of scared after a while and don't want to hear, but like, I find it really interesting, like all the different ways. Like, to me, it helps me process what I'm going through, just to hear what other people go through, just so I can be like, oh, I have some of that, or that's completely different. That could be, I'm doing great in that area, I'm not doing so great in that area, whatever. When I was first diagnosed and all that, people would send me, like, there's a quote, I forget what exactly it is you never know how strong you are until you are forced to face it, or when men meet mountains and whatever. I'm screwing it up, but there's lots of those sort of
Oh yeah.
But it's like, I don't even think of it like that. It's like, what choice do I have? This is just who I am.
That's what I say. Yeah, I'm like, well, there isn't another choice. So after I graduated high school, I actually went to college and I studied public administration. And then I got a bachelor's and I ended up getting a master's in public administration. And it sounds much better. I went through the disability office. Like, I had a lot of help. I got involved with a lot of nonprofits when I was in treatment. Because when I was in the hospital, like, I wouldn't be that sick. I wasn't, I wouldn't be like sick to my stomach. So I would just be like bored. Like, there's nothing to do, especially in a children's hospital. It's all like cartoons. Like, there wasn't even real TV. It would only be like Disney Channel and like Cartoon Network. And so I would do like mailings or different things that I could for other nonprofits. So I got really involved in the nonprofit world. So I started a nonprofit called Support the Cause. It helps other pediatric nonprofits. So, like, for instance, right now, another nonprofit called Can't Make a Dream in Metro Detroit is having a big fundraiser and they need volunteers. So for the past probably 15 years, I've gotten most of their volunteers.
It's great because I think that's one of the big problems is sort of infrastructure issues, which can be very expensive. It's like,
exactly.
You're a few years past sort of the, I guess, what most people would deem the scary part. You have some side effects and some signs visibly that all is not right in the town.
Right, yes.
So I started going to like a young adult group at a church. And so it was like the week before Easter, I think, like when I met him. And so then randomly we ended up meeting, and who's we? Me and Tobias.
Hi, I'm Tobias Glossmann. She was asking me what I would do for Easter. She decided to invite me over for her family's Easter dinner. So our first date was actually with her entire family.
And he's from Germany, so he was here working.
But things went very well, and we decided to meet again.
We dated then.
So you started dating. And
yeah.
Now, when did you tell him your diagnosis?
Probably like a month. I was like, yeah, like I had cancer before, blah, blah, blah.
It was shocking first to hear that she had cancer.
And he didn't act like freaked out. I'm sure he was. He didn't say anything. Yeah, we just kept dating and it wasn't even an issue.
See, that's
ever.
Huge. That's huge. Often I will see relationships crumble or divorces.
No, he's amazing.
I think back to the idea of you guys dating and he's hanging out with this woman who, he finds charming in many ways, but the other time is like, what's up with this chick? She's falling asleep in movies. She's walking into walls.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I just would laugh about it. I mean, you have to laugh about it at some point. They're like, this is so ridiculous. I don't know. It was just perfect. He's like insanely perfect for me.
I never thought that a health issue could separate us.
I don't know, it worked out great. He was okay with me, because like I don't work, I don't have a job, and like it's weird, like I don't get disability either. I qualify for it, but because I was disabled before I was able to work, I never paid into the system.
I mean, you qualify, but it's for like, $5 a month or something.
Exactly, right? I'm not able to work. I can barely count to 20. Like, I'm not working with anything.
And so, I forgot what we were.
Because like when a pediatric kid gets a diagnosis, it affects the rest of your life. Like for the next like 50, 60, 70 years. It never ends.
So fast forward, you're living your life together, you end up getting married.
Like I knew I have like a lot of issues that keep popping up. Unfortunately, like that's probably gonna be the case forever. But everything was just going along fine. Every year, I would just go for my yearly checkup. My one oncologist was like, oh, you know what? I think you can like go to like every 5 years getting MRIs. She was like, okay, so we've been doing this for a while now, so I think like you seem pretty good, like pretty much only small issues of side effects, nothing like major.
Sorry, I like that they say small issues, but I think if most people were dealing with some of these things, they get pretty freaked out. Like I look back now on the issues that I was having before I was diagnosed, like, oh, I get a little dizzy every now and then, I'd be tired, and it felt like the world was ending in some ways. And like now, if I have that level of fatigue or whatever, it's like, it's a good day.
Exactly. You're like, wow, I actually got off the couch and got dressed. Yeah, she was like, it's been stable for so long. I think we can really like progress to like every 5 years.
And then in May,
it was like a nightmare. Because then one day I woke up and it was numb from like here to here.
Long story short, they ended up doing MRIs and finding out it was like another lesion in the same spot that my original tumor was. And so they thought it was like a reoccurrence.
It was quite scary. She sometimes couldn't talk right, or she couldn't walk right, and it was frightening.
And you were how old? I know that was just 2 years ago.
32.
Luckily, the doctors found that this brain tissue that was causing the issue, there was an inflammation that they were able to treat without surgery.
It's really, really rare for that to come back or that to happen, like another tumor get created by like dead skin cells and stuff like that. 16 years, 17 years later is like crazy.
And there are moments in life when you think, well, you want to have a bigger family, you want to have kids or so, but then you just have to decide to make a difference in this world in different ways.
Yeah, this is fun.
Did you enjoy the video that you just watched? Then please share it all over social media. And while you're at it, could you also go ahead and subscribe to the Brain Cancer Diaries channel that you're on right now here on YouTube?
Like, share, and subscribe.